Greetings, everybody. Nina, the Mystic Truther here, and welcome to another Cindy Live, or Let's Talk, as we like to call it here, with Robert V and myself. Tonight is going to be a little different show. We're going to be talking about some sad news, and as well as some new and exciting news that kind of goes hand in hand, to be honest with you, because when I heard about the one thing, I didn't even know about the other thing, and that's who I thought about when I heard about that. So, and I see we got Jason in here today. Welcome, Jason. Thank you so much for being here, and my deepest condolences go out to you and your family. For those who don't know, I see Lori's asking who passed. Bruce sees all. I don't know if you guys are familiar. Some might know who he is, some might not. He had a huge channel on YouTube all about the moon. He actually has or had a huge telescope that he was filming, and he was getting all kinds of footage that he was getting shadow banned for, essentially. And so when I heard about the second moon, he was the first person I thought about. I didn't even know that he had passed. He actually passed on the 4th of this month, September. And yeah, because he would have been all over this whole second moon thing that's happened starting tonight. But we'll get more into that as we go in here. I just want to recognize, and you know, if we can all just take a moment for Bruce, you know, and he was only 49 years old, and like I said, his channel was shadow banned, and somebody told me as well that he had been getting death threats. So that to me is a little bit concerning. He seems awfully young. Could it been that, you know what I mean? Like, who knows? So if anybody's in here in the chat and knows more about this than I do, please feel free to chime in. I didn't know him that well. However, I was a subscriber, and I was watching his stuff. And like I said, he was the first person I thought about when I heard about this whole moon thing. So, which makes you wonder, because we were talking a little bit here earlier before the show, and also was talking to Max Vision earlier as well, that something is up with this whole moon thing. But again, we'll get into that in a second. I would like to take this opportunity now to light a candle, okay, for Bruce. And we're going to let Isby over here, another one of our friends who passed away, hold that candle here for us tonight. And I just want to take a moment to remember him and to, honor his work that he did. So I do highly recommend, if you haven't, subscribing to his channel and then checking out his videos, because I believe he may have been onto something here. Now, this makes me want to go and binge watch his videos even more, to pay more closely attention. What exactly footage did he manage to get? You know what I mean? Like, and, you know, like I said, we could talk about maybe, you know, I know that I watched Jason's video, and I know there was a coroner investigation, because if you pass away before 50, it's an automatic thing, apparently. And they did rule it as a natural causes. So, you know, there's that. However, it just seems a little suspicious to me, you know, after receiving threats and whatever. Anyways, welcome, Robert. How are you doing, and how do you feel about all this?
Well, I'm doing good. I feel really sad about this whole thing, and I was really shocked when I heard the news, because I was like, hey, you know, he's a young guy, and, you know, I just watched him. I just seen him. He seemed fine. And,
yeah.
You know, of course, you know, things happen. I mean, you know, we were talking recently about the food we eat and things like that, and all that stuff. But nonetheless, it's just kind of crazy. But then you start thinking about, of course, what does everybody's mind go to? Conspiracy. You know, and I don't want to throw out conspiracy like that. Then it would happen, because we don't wish that upon anybody. But you know, he said in a lot of his videos, yeah, he didn't get the jab. Well, anyway, and that's a good thing, because he seemed like he was into those conspiracies. He knew what was going on. He tried to share it. He was awake. He tried to share that information with everybody, and he knew a lot of stuff. And I probably knew a little more than he probably told everybody else. But with that telescope he had, according to what he said, he had a 14-inch telescope, but he used it on his back porch to see all of these things. And then he
Yeah,
shared it with
the
all
I have the about section here for him where it has the actual the numbers here, or the receipts. What is it called? The 1400 HD computerized 14-inch telescope with a 38-inch optical tube and a Nikon D850 46 megapixel camera. I don't know. You guys can read all that stuff. So, if you want to know exactly what he had, but he had some really good footage of the moon, of things coming and going and everything, right?
yeah.
And so they might not want, and that's what makes me wonder now. Maybe, you know what I mean? Like, I want to go back and watch his videos more now. But go and
Well,
check out his channel. You'll see it right
you know,
here.
even though he'd been, I think he'd been shadow banned for a number of years.
Yes, he had.
His
Yeah.
his channel was still growing, and in February he hit 100,000 subscribers. So, you know, that is a tremendous feat when when they're shadow banning you, and it's hard to put somebody like that down when they're putting out information that everybody knows is true, but they can't put their finger on it. And when you're trying to wake up and the information's out there, that is one of the best things. But then when that person comes out and does it, they put a target on themselves. Shadow banning, getting your channel strikes, things like that. You have to be really careful. He was talking about the moon with structures and buildings and things inside, and smoke and coming out of the ground there. And he made it make sense, and you could see the pictures. He backed them up with this telescope and the footage, and it really does make sense. If you go back, I like history. You can go back and they talk about things on the moon, and so it makes you wonder. Well, has somebody been on the moon? Is that where the alien bases are? Did our astronauts actually go there? Well, and the aliens stand on the edge of the rim like they said, and watch them. And were we told not to go back?
That's it. I was going to say, from what I have kind of come to my own conclusion here, and from what I've heard, is that they did actually go there. But I guess they went on to the other side of the moon, the dark side, they call it, and whatever, and were told not to come back there, and basically threatened not to come back ever again. And that's why we've never gone back. Now, however, the footage that you're seeing that they have released is fake. That was all made up in some movie studio. And so that's why it looks all wonky. I mean, especially with nowadays technology, look at that. It looks like some, grade 6 person science project or something. You know what I mean? Like, it looks kind of wonky. It looks kind of stupid, right? So, so that's why that was definitely orchestrated in the studio, because there's no way. I mean, you can't film the thing coming at you. Who was filming that was on the moon? It just doesn't make sense, right? And then the landline, they're calling the landline up to the moon. Like, come on now, right? So that's the thing. So that was all.
Well, there wouldn't be anything better. But see, now if you're on an exploratory voyage and you don't know what's there, and you want good propaganda and publicity, you would film it ahead of time. You would do those things so that you'd have something to show the public in case your astronauts are up there and they do run into aliens, or what if they crashed and all died? Well, that would make horrific footage. Or what if they couldn't get the footage? And
that would be impossible to film yourself arriving. I mean,
yes,
you know what I mean.
That's what I'm saying. Is you would get that footage and you would show that footage immediately, the stuff you recorded, because common sense, logic, science says that you can't, go back. You can't make a phone call from the moon and talk to somebody on Earth in real time.
we can't even use, the phone, without paying long distance charges here, so yeah, so the technology has just gotten so more advanced now that it's kind of funny for us to watch that kind of footage now. But so I get it why they did it. There's a lot of different reasons, I'm sure, and yeah, so
The
I mean,
thing is
yeah.
let's go back in history for a bit. And regardless of what they put out or what happens, myths are sometimes more real and truthful than the what's going on in the here and now.
Mm-hmm.
And if you go back to all these myths and stories, they always talk about even in the movies, somebody wrote those books a long time ago that there were people on the moon. They lived on the inside of the moon. What, Jules Verne or H.G. Wells, they wrote these books about going to the moon, first man on the moon. And what did they find? They found aliens. What story, it wouldn't be that what does everybody talk about? What an alien base on the moon, After so long of talking about it,
Mm-hmm.
then it becomes just this myth, this fairy tale, But is it really true? Or do we convince ourselves that it's just a myth and we forget the truth of the myth? Because in every nursery rhyme, it was always a nursery rhyme about something that was real, not fake stuff. It was real stuff. I
know. Well, that's kind of coming to light now because some of those nursery rhymes were horrible. Like witches stealing children, eating children, like Pinocchio going to Pleasure Island.
Yeah.
We never clued into any of it, but now we're like, oh damn, like never saw that. We didn't. Anyways,
Oh,
yeah.
Look at Ring Around the Rosie. How many times when you were a kid didn't you sing "Ring Around the Rosie"? Pocket full of what was that about? That was about a disease coming through and people dying. Yeah.
Yeah, they're sick. These people are sick, and they always throw things in our face, but we just, aren't able to see it or choose not to. A lot of us choose to be asleep. But yeah, going back to the moon. So apparently when this thing hit the moon, they filmed it or whatever. Apparently it rang like a bell, which tells us that it's metal and it's hollow. So there's evidence there as well of some things that they released but didn't quite, realize what they were actually giving us there. But
there's always a little bit of truth in everything, and they have to tell a little bit of the truth, otherwise nobody's going to believe it. And then if they do, then there's more conspiracy. If you let a little bit out there, then there's more conspiracy, and then you don't know what the truth is. So it's good and bad all at the same time. I mean, it's one of those on the fence kind of thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So I find it's kind of, like Jason is showing here that he had, all the views that he was losing and everything. Like, so they were shadow banning him heavily, and there's a reason for that. I mean, this is moon footage. Why would they be censoring a guy talking about the moon? Unless there was something really that they were worried about. I mean, there's nothing, he never talked about things that, are normally censored. You know what I mean? Like, so that makes you wonder. And then receiving death threats, and then all of a sudden you pass away just a couple of weeks before this whole second moon thing, which is what we're going to go into here now. Like apparently today, 2 hours and 20 minutes ago, this asteroid entered our moon's orbit. So we now have 2 moons orbiting the Earth for the next 2 months. So, and the weird thing I thought about this too, that the length of it or the size of this asteroid is the size of a school bus, which measures 33 meters or whatever, 33, whatever it is, meters or feet or whatever. I don't know how it's measured, but 33, they came up with that.
Yeah.
That made me wonder, it seems like something is up with this thing.
It's really not that big, but
it's
really small in the scheme of things. And they're like, oh, this thing comes by every so many 100 years, or so many years anyway. And a bunch of these things do this all the time. but you can't see it with your, you can't see it with your binoculars or something like that. Well, what do you think everybody's going to do? They're going to be out there with their binoculars looking for it, their
They are.
telescopes looking for it.
I
And then
know.
when they do see something shiny flying around up there, they're just going to say, "Oh, that I seen it." And because most people don't have a big enough telescope to actually pinpoint anything. And so, if there was a
There
ship
is people
flying
in the
around,
community doing that right now. We're saying that
yeah,
they're seeing this thing with their binoculars.
yeah.
And
So
so
when
again,
they
yeah,
do,
I wonder.
yeah, when they do see something, they're going to just say it's the moon, the second moon. But it might be something else. What a great cover story
Yeah.
for an alien ship to come by. What a great cover story for an asteroid that could have killed us all.
Because that's pretty
I mean,
close. The moon's orbit is really close to the Earth. However, as far as I know, there's no chance of it hitting or anything like that. But it's going to get spewed back out into the sun's orbit. Apparently, I have a thing here. If we want to,
yeah.
I
I
read
looked at.
about it a little bit, just
I
to kind of get the facts here.
Yes,
Um,
that'd be good.
let's see. So this is space.com. I thought, well, that might be fairly accurate, I guess. Let's see here. I don't want to read everything. Let's see what anything that's more. So this object that is going to pay us a visit belongs to and I thought this was interesting, Arjuna asteroid belt. I've never heard of that, but is that ring anybody else's bells for anything? Arjuna asteroid belt, a secondary asteroid belt.
Arjuna, isn't he the one of the Indian with the Brahmahama whatever guy, and he talked to Arjuna. Arjuna was the one asking all the questions, or doing the thing. If you read the,
is that who was named
I can't
after?
even remember. Yeah, he's in that the Indian Hindu book, or the can't think of the name of it. I read it, but
okay, all right.
Well,
who cares? All right, a secondary asteroid belt made of space rock that follows orbit very similar to that of Earth. At an average distance to the sun, about 93 million miles, 150 million kilometers. Marcos told Space.com last week. Objects in the Arjuna asteroid belt are part of the near-Earth object population of asteroids and comets. I don't have to read all about it, all these numbers. If you want to, you can just go. I do have this link down below if you guys want to check this out yourself. That's sort of the graph of it there. So this thing is called 2024 PT5 is what it's called. Isn't the first asteroid to be captured by Earth to be transformed into mini moon. Scientists have officially documented 2 prior short captures, a type of asteroid grabbing event lasting about a week and estimated to occur several times per decade. We also know of 2 prior rare long captured events that last years rather than weeks that leads to snared asteroid completing one or more full orbits of the Earth. So this one here is going to be just a few weeks, like 2 months apparently. Whereas the moon dominates the night sky of the Earth for at least half the month, 2024 PT5 won't be observable to the average sky watcher. However, professional astronomers might be able to grab some imagery of this temporary alignment. So it makes you wonder whether you're worried about Bruce seeing something that he wasn't supposed to see, I wonder, because he would be able to. This is mostly due to the massive difference in size between the 2 bodies. While the moon is an estimate, and I'm not going to say up all the numbers. I hate numbers. It's believed to just be 37 feet wide. So that's when in your feet. That means that the moon is a whooping 3.8-108 times wider than this thing is. Yeah, it's not very big. The object is too small and dim for a typical amateur telescope and binoculars. However, the object is well within the brightness range of typical telescopes used for the professional astronomers. Marcus concluded our telescope with a diameter of at least 30 inches, and Bruce's was 40, right? Or something like that?
38.
38? So
Yeah, I
so
think.
he would have been able to see it. That's what I'm saying. He would have been able to film this. We could have been watching this live on his channel right now.
Yep.
Inches plus a CCD or CMOS detector is needed to observe this object. A 30-inch telescope and a human eye behind it will not be enough. I see. I guess we can look on his thing there to see if he had it, but I'm pretty sure he did. It makes you wonder, did they take him out a couple of weeks before this event? Like,
Well, I think in the big scheme of things, he had seen so much stuff on the moon, and he kept
yeah.
capturing things flying off of the moon, lights on the moon, smoke on the moon, structures on the moon, and over and over and over, and pinpointing them almost enough to draw a map of it all. At some point or another, my thought is when they shadow ban him for that stuff. I know he talked about controversial things too, but we all do that, and they give strikes and shadow ban, and you're one to know about shadow ban, if anybody. But he, by chance, he was still growing. People were watching because they were interested in this stuff. When you got documentation, you got pictures, and you can do it in real time. Boy, that's more proof than that catches on. People pay attention. The question is were the right people paying attention and didn't like his stuff so much? And
yeah, well, apparently he was getting death threats. So if I was his family, I would start investigating those threats to see, I definitely need to question those people now. They should be, up for questioning to see, because
the way I look at it is the people that would want him to disappear, they wouldn't do it. It would be like, he died of natural causes. The end of the story. I mean, they have so many ways nowadays to get you to cross over that we can't even fathom.
Well, the heart attack gun is a classic. That's one of the ones that they use, and it's not detectable. You cannot tell that a person did not die from natural causes with that. So that's what I mean. But his brother was saying here, it's going to take months for the autopsy apparently. So they've already included natural causes, but it's going to take months for the autopsy. So
and well, but even so, if it was the heart attack gun, for instance, well, it would have been ruled natural causes anyway, and that's the whole point of it. These things they have. Look at down in Cuba when the people were down there and getting their ears ringing and having that syndrome or whatever. They were scarred for life. I don't know if any of them died, but a lot of them lost their eyesight or hearing, and they had brain damage, and they still didn't know where it was coming from. Unknown, classified unknown. How'd that happen? And to this day, there's
unknown. Yeah, right. So we know it's them.
But as soon as they closed the embassy and all the people went home, nobody else got sick. Nobody had problems anymore. Makes you start wondering. I mean, I've looked up some of these ultrasonic weapons with the sound, to chase people away. Microwave weapons nowadays. We don't even want to go down some of these roads, but who knows? I mean, they ain't gonna tell us. We talk about frequency generators and stuff too. Remember the one guy invented a frequency generator to turn a raging bull into a subdued animal. Remember the guy that went out into the bullfighting ring and had his little box, and he turned it, and the bull didn't want to fight him anymore. Go figure.
Well, there you go. Yeah, no, they have all kinds of technology like that for sure. Yeah.
But the thing is I think he was on to something. I really do. I think, he knew that whatever he was doing, he was stepping on toes. I think, he could have easily said, I'm done, gone his way, or, started talking about different things, or just backed off on the moon stuff, and said, oh yeah, I see the moon, and blah blah blah, and been soft pedaling it. But no, he was hardcore on it. He went all the way. He didn't hold back, I don't think.
I mean, it could be as simple as jealousy from other creators too, who are specializing in the same thing. There's probably a lot of people that have a telescope that
I don't know. Have you
have a channel to
have
the
you
moon,
seen
but
anybody else out there doing that?
I
I really
haven't. No, I haven't. But I would assume
yeah.
that
He
there
was like
is.
he was the one. He
Was
was
he
the
the
only
only
one.
one that was doing that?
Then I don't know, but like I said, I've never run across anybody else really looking at the moon and talking about these things and taking these pictures and putting it out there. And he was doing a heck of a good job on that. Versus if I mean, there's people that look at the moon, there's people look at the stars and stuff, but a lot of that stuff is so boring, and they don't really
They're
put
not
it out there.
investigating. Yeah.
And they don't, those
Yeah.
telescopes like he had, those aren't cheap either. Those are very expensive to have a telescope and that big, and then hook it to your computer and all of that. You're talking big money, big money. That's all I can say.
Yeah, he
Anyway,
had spent big money on that thing. I know. Yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah, and that's a lot to invest just to look at the moon, and a lot of people don't. They don't do that. And if you go to an observatory, they're looking through the big giant telescopes up there. But are they sharing their information with everybody?
well,
Not
the thing
really.
is, when you're looking at the NASA your websites and their things, you can tell that they've scrubbed out things.
Yeah.
There's things there that they don't want you to see, and they just kind of scrub it out, and they don't really hide it too well either. Like, because I can
No.
even see it, and so you can't really trust any of the stuff that they have, and so there's obviously things there that they don't want you seeing, and so he must have seen that and showed it on there, and so I do
Yeah.
hope that we figure this out, but
Oh, I know. I mean, that's the thing. I'm sure they will figure it out sooner or later. But you gotta. It's gonna like you said, it's gonna take 6 months for an autopsy. Well, most of the world will forget about it by that time.
that's
It's
what
gonna
we're
be
hoping.
low on everybody's radar, because that'll put us into 2025. And if we go by the what was it, the report? I can't think of it. It's on the tip of my tongue. Help me with this. The report, that tells you everybody, a third of the people are going to be gone in
Oh,
2020.
oh yeah. What?
Yeah.
Judge the. Oh, I got it on my tip of tongue too. Judge, not. Oh man,
Two of
it's
us.
right there.
Anyway, it's like,
Wow.
yeah, I'm thinking
Maybe
it in
they're
my
using
head.
something against us, so we forget about
Oh
all that.
my gosh,
The
they've done it
Deagle.
to us.
The
The Deagle
Deagle
report.
report. I
That's
know.
right. Oh my
Well, I
God.
mean, right now, so right now, I do believe this is part of some distraction for sure.
We've been
Look up here,
brainwashed,
right?
people. They're doing
Now,
it through the computer system.
yeah, right?
Yeah, I'm serious. It's just
And then this whole war thing seems to be escalating
yeah, and of
real
course now
intense right now.
they got us talking about a moon. They got us talking about all kinds of stuff while some kind of chemical plant, is on fire. What was it in Georgia? Today or yesterday or something like that, with chemicals spewing out all over the place. And I'm looking at the pictures of this, and I'm thinking,
Yeah. Don't worry about that. Just look at the moon, everybody. Yeah, I know,
and
right?
the smoke coming out of there didn't look normal smoke. It was red and blue and green and black, and I'm thinking, yeah, that was that's not normal smoke. And
Well, it's
they're
chemical.
telling people it's chemical smoke, and they're telling people stay again,
Stay
shelter
inside.
in place. Shelter in place. And I'm thinking, yeah, that's the worst thing. Chemicals, when you burn them, that's what gets you, is the burning. It releases all those chemical things, and then that's what gets you.
Well, I think in this particular instance, I think the shelter in place is probably a good idea. Get inside, shut your windows. You don't want to be breathing in any of that chemical fumes. You want to give it a few days for it all to kind of blow away, hopefully. But Uh,
Well, when it's chemicals like that, I would say I am going upwind, getting in the car, and heading out because that stuff is dangerous. Very dangerous. See ya,
oh, and
sayonara.
get out of Dodge. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because yeah, you hide in your house, yeah, that's fine, but the vapors are going to get in.
eventually.
It's like saying I'm going to put on a paper mask and go into
Mhm.
an environment with the deadly gas. Is that paper mask going to help you?
No.
No, it's. But I got paper mask on. I'm good.
Yeah, well, let's not even go there. We already went through that in 20 about that whole mask thing and how,
Yeah.
yeah,
But
I
that's
was
the
just
thing. You don't
kidding.
go in a
But
burning building with a paper mask on. You use
no.
a respirator, scuba gear kind of thing. But it's the same thing. They want us distracted. Here, don't look. Let's look at the elections. Let's look at the elections and this guy and against that gal and blah blah blah. And everybody, nobody cares about the war then. Nobody cares about what's going on overseas or
Mm.
how the shipyards are going to close down in a few days. Nobody cares about that.
There's so much
Uh,
going on right now. I know, and the thing is, I'm wondering like if they're going to use this as an excuse. So, and my first thought when I heard about this whole two moon thing was, we know how the one moon affects everything here, like our cycles,
mhm,
our tides, our menstrual cycles. Like a lot of things are affected by the moon. Now,
mhm.
what's going to happen when you introduce a second one? With the because it has a gravitational pull and everything. How is that going to affect us down here? So keep a heads up on that. It's just started today. It's going to be in the next 2 months. I would almost assume that whatever the moon affects you before, double it now then.
Eh,
So
I
I
really
don't know.
don't. I think it's so small and minute
Well, that's true. It is
that
kind of
I
small.
don't think it's going to affect us at all.
Yeah.
Literally, no.
Okay.
I don't think it will affect us one iota. It's a propaganda thing. It's so small you
Or they're
can't
going to
see it.
use the excuse, oh, well, because this is why this happened or whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they could use
Well,
that as an excuse.
that would make more sense because it's so small. There's asteroids going by. Remember Oumuamua went between the Earth and the Moon, or it was so very close, or whatever.
Yeah.
Did it affect us? Did you feel it? No. By time was here, it was gone, and
Mm.
we didn't even know it was there. And did it affect anything? Did the tides, come up on the shore? Did the Earth rumble? No, nothing happened. Nothing. Zero. Big zero. Big fat zero. And it was here and gone, and they went, oh, it went by. We barely caught it, and it changed direction. And we should have been more worried about that. When does an asteroid fly by the Earth and then all of a sudden change direction, go the opposite way? That defies all logic. That defies physics and gravity and all of those other things. That's just not possible. But yet
Hmm.
it must have been caught by some gravitational pull by Mars and then
Hmm.
ricocheted off of Jupiter, and because of that, it changed angle midway through the Kuiper belt. That's what it was. We're also supposed to say, yeah, sure was, because we're not
Well, I
scientists.
mean, in defense, like just as a devil advocate here, in defense, I don't believe that Mua Mua, whatever it was, wasn't in the moon's orbit, though. It was in a different
Mhm.
orbit. So that would be a whole different thing. So having the two things in the one orbit, I don't know. I would pay attention to it, like especially if you're trying to get pregnant. I'd
Mhm.
be curious to see the birth rates next year. So it'll be the July, August babies. Then they'll be affected here because it's for October and November. So, you know, are we going to have more or less? Because maybe you might even make a woman ovulate maybe twice. Maybe she's going to have 2 eggs in 1 month. Next thing you know, we got double the birth rate next year. Who knows? Like I don't know. These are things that I think of and you pay attention to and just see. I'm just curious to see if it's going to have, or are we gonna be seeing, more people in the ER, in the full moon? So are we gonna see, you know what I mean? Is it gonna get crazy? And that's the thing about this whole war situation with the whole civil unrest, all of these kind of crazy type of things, along with all the other astrological things that are set up. We are kind of heading towards kind of a crazy time this
Well,
fall.
yeah, yeah. I
So,
mean, things are
yeah.
supposed to, big changes are supposed to happen. Now the
Mhm.
question is will they, or are we just hyping it up? I mean, the
Yeah.
world is about ready to go into a world war. The United States, they say, is going to be in a civil war. Uh, if or is it going to be a gang war? I wonder
There's
about
so
that.
many
These
things
gangs are
going
coming
on.
in, different religions, different countries coming in. We're going to be torn down from the inside out.
Hmm.
It makes you wonder which one it's going to be. Or
Hmm.
will the sun come around and disrupt the earth and do a cleansing on its own?
Well,
You
that's also
worried about
cycles, and these things do happen all the time. It's just that, we've only had electricity for such a short time, 100 years, literally.
it. Yeah,
So it's been such a short time that we haven't really noticed anything. But these things are normal and they happen all the time. And yeah, from what I'm hearing, that we're going to be getting some supernovas or something rather. So,
yeah.
is this the combination of what's going on with everything? It's not just one thing. There's so many things going on. And then you add this thing now, then. Like, I just know, is that just going to amplify everything? I don't know. And then you got to remember too that next week now, then we got the new moon eclipse coming up on Wednesday. Okay. Along with this. And then there also the Jewish holidays are around the same this week as well, because it all has to do with the new moon, whatever that has to come first, and then so that you got all of that going on as well. So it's an interesting week. It's an interesting time. Like I've been saying this for a while, but it just is, and yeah. So I was shocked when I heard about Bruce, honestly, and then I found out about that at the same time as the moon thing. So it was kind of because I thought of him, of course, when I when I heard of that. So yeah, interesting time for sure. I don't know. Does anybody in the audience have any questions or any input on this? What do you think this is all about? Have you had a chance to look out there to see if you can see it? Maybe tonight when it gets dark. I don't know. But like it says, they're saying that you can't yet. I've had a bunch of people in the previous show earlier today
You,
swore that
you,
they saw it with their binoculars. So
you
I
know
don't
what?
know.
I'm going to make a quote off of Bruce. And one of his things he said was this, and I don't know if he got it from somewhere else, so sorry about that if it is, but I remember him saying, there's if aliens come or whatever's happening happens, it's not going to be an event. It's going to be a process. And I think that's really true, because if it's an event, everybody looks and sees, but if it's a process, we're just going to, you know,
Hmm.
go through that slowly, like like the frog in the pot, and we don't know what's happening. You see what I'm saying?
Hmm.
I think he was right on that. It's not an event. It's going to be the process.
You would think
So
that they would do it slowly, not to shock us too
yeah,
much. Mind you,
yeah.
the,
Why
the
wouldn't
whole
they do it?
disclosure has been going on for years,
Yes.
all the way since Area 51 and blah, blah, blah. I mean, it was in the 40s that they made some kind of deal. And that's when, we started seeing all of the abductions and everything. So, we've heard of it. It's been disclosed for a long time, I would say. But if they were going to do, say, a fake alien invasion or something like that, this whole
Mm-hmm.
moon thing could be part of it. That's right. That's what we were talking about earlier. I
Yeah.
mean, who knows what this asteroid is? Maybe it is something that they're going to
Well,
bedazzle on with.
this would get
Um,
people to look into the sky the
yeah,
best they can. Right now, by saying there's a moon out there that you
yeah.
can't see, you're going to have
Everybody is
thousands.
out there now. Yeah,
Yeah, you're going to have
tonight.
thousands of people looking, taking pictures. Yeah, you just watch. In another day or two, there's going to be 20 TikTok videos or 20,000 TikTok videos, put it that way,
Hmm.
of the moon, the new moon. I captured it. I got my camera out there, and I'm look at my video. And then of course it'll be, oh yeah, it was the aliens. While I was doing that, I found the aliens coming. And then there'll be 20 other videos of, yeah, the aliens were in my backyard, and they got out, and I took pictures, and oh boy. I mean,
Yeah.
you just can imagine well, who are you going to believe? Who are you believing at that point? Because it's a catchy thing. When one person does it, 2 or 3 others copy that, regardless if they seen it,
Yeah.
experience it or not. It's like they want to copy it, the like jumping off the Empire State Building. One guy did it, and everybody else was like, yeah, I want to try that too. You know what the end result is. So they had to put up big fences around the edges, because after the first guy or second guy did it, people were like lining up to get up there to jump off the top. Wow. Are you serious?
Yeah, that's people for you, though. There's all kinds here. And yeah, they do like to copycat what other people are doing, for sure, or piggyback off of other creators. If somebody's got some content, they want to do it for, but yeah, so who knows? I mean, time will tell. Yeah, that's the thing about all these things. We just don't know. But yeah, just bringing it to everyone's awareness, and to be aware of, like, if you are extra sensitive to the moon and its cycles and whatnot, I would be, heads up that, hey, you might be a little extra sensitive right now. You know what I mean? And we do have the new moon eclipse coming up on Wednesday, so there's that, and all these other things. So just be self-aware,
The thing is these moons have gone by the Earth, as they said in the article, multiple times, even in the recent past. But do you remember making a big deal about the second moon in the last 20, 30 years? No.
Not that I can recall, no.
So up to this time, did it say in that article how many times this moon goes by the Earth? Because I think this one passes by the Earth so many times every couple of years or so.
It did.
As the article I read. But the Earth captures these, and very often. But this is the first.
Yeah, so it's an astro grabbing event lasting about a week and estimated to occur several times per decade. So this several times per decade. So it does happen. Yeah, I've never really, I don't remember hearing about it.
Yeah, did anybody get affected? Did the Earth tilt its axis because this thing came by several times? And a decade's only 10 years. So several times in 10 years. So what? Every 5 years it comes by. And I don't remember making a big deal about this until right now. And now all of a sudden it's like, oh my gosh, the Earth's going to have a second moon. You got to pay attention. You never look up at the sky. No, you can't see it, but you better start looking. See, that's what gets me. It's like, wasn't important, for the last umpteen years, but now all of a sudden, it's the most important thing ever.
So it makes you wonder. It seems like a distraction, because there's so much else going on, and yet they want us to look up there now.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it makes you wonder.
Keep your eyes to the skies, because something's going on. And we want you to see. This is the thing. They went from. They
want us to see something. Yeah.
They don't want us to see to now they want us to see. This is a plan. I believe that this is a planned event, if any of you ever saw one.
Well, so never let a good crisis go to waste. That's their slogan, right? So by having this coming right now, oh, hey, let's use this for whatever. You know what I mean? They're using it for something else. It's not a planned event as such that, they placed it there or anything, but, it's just happening, and they piggyback off of other events. That's kind of what they do. So I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, something is coming. Like I said, we got the eclipse on Wednesday. We got all these Jewish holidays, and there's always stuff happening around that time. And, and just October period, it's just a very unstable astrological month. Okay,
so like you were talking about an eclipse, how many times do they have an eclipse? And nowadays, oh my gosh, there's an eclipse, and everybody's running around like there's an eclipse. But eclipses have happened all the time, but the Earth didn't start rumbling, didn't shift off its axis, the poles didn't melt off that day, and the sun came up the next morning. The animals didn't run around crazy, and people didn't lose their minds. It was just an eclipse, and we all looked up and went, "Yep, that's pretty cool."
No, the eclipse doesn't do anything like that, and nobody's ever said that. It happens twice a year, so we have eclipse season every 6 months. However, for those of us who work with the moon, it is a more amplified time, and whatever intentions, whatever you're doing during the eclipse, will last the next 6 months. It's a very powerful energy, you know what I mean, that we only have that every 6 months. So we tend to do, more stuff during that time, because why not use the energy? Like, never let a good crisis go to waste. Why would you know what I mean? So if you're going to be doing stuff, you might as well do it then, kind of thing. Right. So, yeah, it's not going to change your life, but it can amplify whatever you're working on. So, make sure that you are setting intentions and, and whatever, set goals. 6 months goals is a great time to set it during the eclipse, because that energy is going to last for the next 6 months. So, yeah. And then I'm kind of hoping that this whole, the second moon now, though, is even going to amplify it even more on Wednesday.
Well, and this is the thing, these crazy people that do things. This is an event that happens where they plan stuff, crazy things on numbered days or moon eclipses and stuff like that, because it's the prophecy. I mean, how many times have you heard that there's a prophecy says, on the third moon of the fourth year and of the eclipse, a child will be born, and it's Satan's child of blah 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 that'll rule the earth for 10,000 years. I'm quoting like a movie, but you know what I'm saying is it's always coming after an eclipse or the sun's blacked out or something like that. It has to be.
They've been using astrology since day one. I mean, that's one thing that the Anunnaki taught us, was the astrology, right? So, we've been using that, and like we talked about with the Columbus and all this, how he used that eclipse to, bamboozle the Indians and whatever. And so, back in the day, not that long ago, really, we didn't even know how to read and write. We weren't allowed to read the Bible. We definitely didn't know anything about astrology. And so it was so easy for them to do this kind of stuff to us,
Yeah.
And we fall for it, of course, right? And it's sensational, it's special, it's like, but now we kind of know, okay, well, it's every 6 months and blah blah blah. We are, we kind of know a little bit more now. But yeah, so that's what they were doing to us. They all have, and they still are. The whole Bible, the end times, they talk about blood moons, they talk about this, and it's all happening because they saw that. They could count that out already back then when they wrote that book. You know what I mean?
And they made it so cryptic, like the apocalypse of the 4 horsemen are coming, and there'll be 3 days of darkness and this, and there'll be plagues and there'll be wars, and of course there's always a war somewhere.
There is always war. It's always some kind of pestilence because they control that.
We checked that one off.
They control the famine, they control the pestilence, they control the war. So they have these things come when they need them to. When they said there was gonna, and you bloody well, no, it's gonna, because they said it was gonna, and that's proving their prophecy now. You see, so that's the thing. We've been bamboozled by these guys for so long, and so now it's starting to get a little boring. To be honest with you, it's too easier to see what they're doing now, and so be curious to see what this whole moon thing, what's going to come out of that now then. And if you guys have any ideas or anything, leave them down in the comment section. What do you think this is all about? What do you see coming around the bend here? So
and I think I want to pay more attention to things like the Deagle report, because the Deagle report, that guy put that up a long time ago. Was he trying to warn us? Is there more to it?
What did he know? Yeah. Why did he see that? Why would you think that?
And then why did they take it down and change it? Why'd they change it later on?
And then they took it down. No, they took it down because they
Oh,
got worried about it because people were doing videos. So that's why we can't find the actual legal report because it's gone. But I can find all kinds of videos of people who had it up on their screen, shared it, and we went through it and everything. So there's plenty of evidence of it still. But that's another thing that they're going to be doing is they're going to be we're going to be getting a new internet. We're not going to have the internet. And when the new internet comes out, we're not going to be able to find any of that stuff. It'll be like,
well, in order to take down the internet. See, but that's the same thing too. Is in order to take down a lot of these things or change a system, you have to have a catastrophic event. And I've told this to a friend of mine. We argue about it all the time. Is that in order to change stuff, you have to have some kind of big event that gets people in that mindset that they want the change that you propose. So you create the situation and then you create the answer. But the people, they don't think about, who's creating the situation. You just think of the here and now. Oh my gosh, it's the here and now, and there's a plague, and the plague is coming, but here's the solution over here. And they're offering it to us. And then we willingly accept the offer. And therefore, they're just like the yin and the yang and the karma, and all about this stuff. If you accept something to be true and you take it in on yourself, the guy presenting it doesn't get any backlash. So there's no karma coming back at them because you accepted it. I sold you a junky car and it was a lemon, but when you were there, you thought it was the greatest car in the world, and you signed the papers. You said, "Yep, it runs really good." And I says, "Well, it does have some flaws and is kind of a breakdown car, but." You were like, "Oh, I really like the color. I want it. And it breaks down 2 days later.
Buyer beware. That's right. Buyer beware.
You bought it. I told you it had a bad muffler and a knock in the motor. And so did I scam you? No, but you wanted it so bad. None of my fault. See you later."
Well, sometimes we see what we want to see, so that's the problem with humanity sometimes is.
And it doesn't, that's the thing. You're so right. But with propaganda, that was kind of my show last night. With propaganda, we can, turn people's ideas into, what they want to believe. The propaganda changes our mind from truth to belief. And that clings us together with other people who have the same belief. And if you get enough people believing in the same thing, now you got magic, and you're wanting to know more about that than me. But that's the thing: when so many people believe in something, it actually becomes the truth. Am I wrong?
Yeah, I mean, you have to believe it in order for it to work. First of all,
regardless if it's true or not. But think about it with the Santa Claus. Santa Claus is coming. Everybody knows what Santa Claus looks like, what he does, and the whole story behind Santa Claus. But is there really a Santa Claus that does all that? No.
That's one conspiracy that everybody's in on. Isn't that funny, eh? Everybody in the world is in on that conspiracy, and we held on to that. Now we're good at that, and so.
So turning that belief into reality and getting people on board that train. We've been doing it for 100 years, and it's all propaganda. Some guy sat down at a art board, at a picture board, and wrote down, draw the sketch for Coca-Cola, what Santa's supposed to look like. They propagandize it and, made commercials. And next thing you know, Santa Claus is born in the red suit with the tiny reindeer, and Gene Autry singing Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, and to this day, I can't get them out of my head.
Oh yeah, they're good at their marketing. They sure are.
Yeah, and then because everybody knows the story now, and it's like it's hard to distinguish between fact and fiction at this point, and that's the goal of every agency out there, is to establish the fact. It's like going to the moon. We just talked about in the beginning. going to the moon. It was a propaganda thing. We seen our parents and our grandparents seen the pictures of the man landing on the moon. You can see them read books about it, look at the pictures, and
well, we
study them all.
talked about that in the beginning of the video, how that footage obviously was made in the studio. However, they did probably go there and were told not to come back. And it's funny how their excuse for not being able to go back, because people are like, why aren't you going back? Like, you've been there before. Like, oh yeah, they lost the technology of how to get there because somebody taped over a VHS. Now, some of you might not even know what a VHS is, but back in the day, we could tape our own shows from the TV, just play and record, and so we could just tape over another show that we had. So apparently, they had all their moon landing, moon whatever, on a VHS tape that somebody had accidentally taped over, apparently. That's their excuse as to why they can't go back. It's just, again, it's such a ridiculous, excuse. I mean, it's just, well, whatever. I'm sure, I know there's going to be more disclosure coming up, a lot of truth, and it has been in the last 10 years. Oh my gosh.
But
the stuff that's coming out.
It's just a drip. Like,
it is kind of
like those guys that came out with, what's his name? Elizondo, whatever his name was, and he came out and he's with the CIA or whatever, and then he's dripping the little bits of facts and information about UFOs being real. And then there was a Tic Tac UFO that the government had on their airplane following video kind of thing, and it's like, okay, well, it's a drip. They don't want to deny it, and they don't want to accept. They'll accept it, but they don't deny it now. And the thing is it's happening, and now
it has to slowly. Otherwise, it would be too shell shocked, right? We just wouldn't, be able to handle it. So that's kind of why they're doing it that way. But I think it's kind of, I think there's going to be more coming up. So this whole moon thing, I think it's just, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see exactly what pans out with this. Is it just a distraction? Or are they going to use this as an excuse for something else? Like, it's just, something is up with it, especially with the 33 meter. Like, come on. Whenever I see that, I know something's up. But, but anyways, back to Bruce. Like, for those who missed the beginning of the video, make sure you go and check out Bruce's all. He just passed away on the 4th. I've had actually a lot of people pass away lately, the last couple of months here.
Young people, don't forget that part.
Yeah, they're pretty young. That's the problem. Like, Bruce is only 49 years old, and just seems too young to me. Mind you, it's today's, with the pharmaceuticals, with their diet, with everything that we got going on.
As I know, at least that up parts I seen, he didn't portray that he had something terribly wrong, or he had a bunch of diseases or something.
I didn't know him that well. I didn't know him that well. I didn't see any health concerns either. However, he was dieting. He was dieting heavily. So, I mean, if anything, but mind you, if you're dieting, it means you're overweight. So I don't know how long he was overweight, or, what his diet was like, or, if he smoked, or, all those kind of things. He was a musician. Usually, not the judge, but usually musicians like to have a good time, and indulge maybe a little bit too much. Like I said, I don't know his background, but still 49 just seems awfully young. And he was definitely turning a leaf, because I know last year when I was watching him, he was dieting and fasting like hardcore. He lost a lot of weight and stuff like that. So he was definitely trying to make himself healthy here in the last couple of years anyways. And so, yeah, I'll be curious to see what that autopsy says. However, I don't really have any faith in it, because we know that the heart attack gun that they have, it doesn't detect. You can't tell that that's what's happened. So, yeah. So it's probably just going to come back as natural causes, like it normally does.
Probably.
And we have no way of knowing. However, if I was the family, I would definitely investigate the death threats that he was getting. Now, were they from the government, or were they just from jealous YouTubers that didn't have as many views as he did. I don't know, because there's that too. People get jealous, you got this telescope, they don't, or maybe they do as well, and you're taking away views, whatever. I mean, there's a lot of that as well, right? So, but I would definitely investigate it now that he's passed. Like it just seems a little suspicious, but oh man, yeah, interesting times. And I talked, for those of you who, are on my Patreon and come and listen to me on Wednesdays, I talk a lot more. I think about stuff like this. That's where we can, talk uncensored over there. And I have talked about there is going to be a mass exodus out of here. I wasn't really expecting these people to go, to be honest with you. I was more expecting more the elderly. And, it's just started. So be prepared for a lot of people are going to be exiting out of here. And I've also heard that this is contracted before we even came here. We choose our exit date. And there's a lot of things that are going to be coming up that a lot of people want out. Oops. Oh, I thought I spilled my thing. A lot of people want to just get out before whatever is going to be happening here. And I can't say I blame them. A lot of them are probably more needed on the other side, to be honest with you, than here, because there's not much we can do here. But if we're on the other side, there's a lot more things we can do. We might be more needed over there, to be honest with you. So, yeah, stay healthy. That's why I did that healing ritual. Like I said, a lot of people, like Billy Carson, almost passed away last week. Another one, bacterial pneumonia, had the same thing as Arwayne Steiger. Both of them got the COVID and then ended up with bacterial pneumonia. Both of them, if it wasn't for their wives getting them to the hospital in time, they wouldn't be here right now. And so especially important for us who are single, who don't have that other person there to see the symptoms that, oh, you know what, I think we need to go and get checked out. You know what I mean? Because it creeps up on you so quickly, these things. And a lot of people are not going to make it for that reason. If you don't have that support, to get you there when you need to be there. And these are young, or Billy's fairly young anyways. He almost didn't make it, And so I'm seeing a lot of that. A lot of people are getting sick. A lot of people are passing away.
Billy Carson's only like 61 or 62. I think he is.
He's not that old, is he? No way.
Yeah.
Isn't he in his 40s or something?
No.
Okay. I thought he was a lot younger. Well, he's had some surgeries and whatnot, so he probably looks a little younger than what he is. I think he's had a little nipple and stuff. So he had his jaw done, his teeth done, everything's done. But
well, yeah,
too young to be passing, anyways. But it's so yeah, important to stay healthy. Keep your chin up. Don't let this stuff bog you down too much. You gotta live life. Enjoy life. Enjoy your loved ones. While we're still here. And
yeah. I'm trying to find this thing.
What are you figuring out? How old he is? Okay, well,
yeah, I'm trying to figure that out. Where is this Wikipedia page? That's where they always tell the age. Looking it up.
Looking that up, I thought, so this is the last Sunday of September, and we are starting with October next month. I thought, you know what, let's lighten things up, because our shows have been kind of, heavy, right? A little bit heavy. Now we got the holidays coming up. Canada has Thanksgiving coming up in a couple of weeks. And, October is my favorite month with the Halloween and all that sort of stuff. So I thought, you know what? Next month, we're going to keep it a little bit lighter. It's going to be more seasonal. So this will be more, for those who are interested in all the mystic part of my content, you'll love October. If you're not, if you're heavy duty truther and that's all you're interested in, you might want to skip October and just wait for November. We'll return in November with more, other stuff. Okay. That's why I got the Mystic Truther here, because I got two different kinds of content, honestly. And so I hope that you guys are able to kind of bear with us. If I'm having a show on something that you're not interested in, just wait until next week. There'll probably be something else that you might be interested in. Don't just unsubscribe right away and walk off in a huff. You know what I mean? Just hold your horses and stay tuned. Because we got some great things coming up. I know next month we got got an occult roundtable coming up on the 20th. So for those of you who are interested in the occult and, you know, are in the community, you'll love this. And then, of course, we got our Halloween party at the end of the month. Robert will be there for there. The Thanksgiving Sunday, I'm going to be airing a show, the last show that I did on Arwayne Steiger. So there'll be that coming up there. And then I thought next Sunday, I might even do some free card pulls. I don't know.
You're right. He's born in 71, so that puts him at like what?
He's younger than I am.
Yeah, 53, 54, 54, 53, 53, I think it is. So anyway, sorry about that. I thought somebody had said once he was in this.
Well, 53, 60, yeah, that's not too far off, though, is it?
He's young. Really? Yeah, he's young. But yeah, younger than me.
He's young to die, that's for sure.
Yes, so, definitely. Makes you worry about yourself, you know, when you get to this old. But anyhow.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. We're getting there. Like, you know, if I get a chest cold, or I might not fare as well either. I got a bit of asthma going on, you know. And that's the thing. If you got anything underlying, you know, with a little bit of asthma, might not bother you too much normally. But if you get like a really bad chest cold or whatever, it's, you know, and when you're single, you got nobody there monitoring you to see if everything's okay, and. You know, so be extra careful. Make sure you got a buddy system there if you're not feeling well. You know, like poor Bruce, you know, he passed away all by himself. Actually, I just had a friend 2 days ago, died in her sleep. 2 months prior to that, another one, I think he was in his sleep as well. But I guess if you're going to going in your sleep is the way to do it, I guess. But still, it's just showing you that people our age, you know, they're falling like flies right now. So, enjoy every day.
Yeah.
So let's do something lighter next week. Like I said, I got some Halloween decks here. So for those of you
October is coming. I can't wait. Look at that.
Halloween decks.
I can't wait. I got my Halloween costume all ready to go. And
really? I haven't even gotten that far yet. I don't even know.
So pumped for October. I can't wait to tell spooky stories and all kinds of stuff. I got, believe it or not, I got my next book up here, and this one here is from 25 True UFO Encounters by Preston Dennett. I'll be reading some out of there. And I have The Afterlife. What better stuff to read about than The Afterlife? The Afterlife during Halloween or October, right?
October or Halloween time is actually, to me, Halloween is all about the ancestors. That's kind of what I focus my Halloween after the trick-or-treating with the grandkids, of course, because on the 1st is All Saints Day and whatever, which is the Day of the Dead in some cultures. And so and the veil is the thinnest, and so that's all about talking to the dead and all this kind of stuff. Fun stuff. So
and that's the thing is we all can't do the same spin. So like I said, I'm getting my spins up. This is kind of it's called the interrupted death experience. So it's got to be interesting. That and aliens and stuff, and I maybe talk about some big. And on my main Native American Myths and Legends show, we're going to be talking about all the native, things like the Wendigo and Bigfoot and things that creep and crawl. Did they have people or scary stories? Of course they did.
I'm sure they do. Yes. Yeah, that'll be interesting. Yeah, stay tuned for that, everybody. I got Robert's links down below. I think I've got 3 of your channels down below there. So go and subscribe to all of those. Make sure you subscribe here, of course, and subscribe over at Bruce's there. Go and check out his videos, because I think he was onto something. We know he was onto something. And it was a one-of-a-kind type of material. And especially now with this second moon and just the timing, everything, I don't know. I'm going to be paying more attention to his videos now for sure to see what did he uncover there in some of those videos.
The one thing I like about his videos is they're timeless. It doesn't, I watch a video today that was from 6 months ago, and it's just as relevant today as it was then.
Well, the the same today as it was 20, 30, whatever years ago, you know what I mean? Or it should be, you know, unless there's something going on out there that, you know. You know,
Exactly.
so yeah, he saw a bunch of things. So go and check that out, guys. His link for his channel is down below as well. And if you don't mind smashing that like, you know, and share this out. I'm uploading this to Odysee and Rumble as well. So make sure you go and follow me over there as well. Hit the follow, you know, and then Instagram. That's always fun. I do enjoy doing my Instagram posts and whatnot. But yeah, any last words from you there, Robert, before we shut her down today?
Well, I hope to see everybody on over at the Native Americans Myths and Legends show on Tuesday night, 9 p.m. Central Time, with me and David Null, Hawkeye Two Feathers, where he'll be bringing a great story, and I will be talking about, of all things, which is coming up, Columbus Day. And, you know, did Columbus discover America? Did he know anything? How did he get here in the first place, and why did he come? Was there importance to it, or was he sent here? Ooh, big question, right?
There you go. Yes. Well, everybody stay tuned for that. Well, thank you all for watching and hitting that like and subscribing and everything. If you don't mind checking out my Patreon, that's kind of where I do a lot of my mystic stuff. I do my hump day message over there. I even got a ritual that's free for everyone, $5 and up, coming up here on Wednesday. So these are extra bonuses that you might get over there. So go and check me out over there, okay? All my links are down in the description of every single video, as well as Robert's here. And yeah, we'll return next month with a whole bunch of October spooky, Halloweeny kind of fun stuff. Yeah, a lot more fun. So if you're not into this doom and gloom stuff, you'll love October shows. So stay tuned, everybody, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.